Today, we're diving deep into the story of a dynasty right on the brink. We're talking about three incredibly high-stakes royal marriages that were supposed to save it, but instead, they ended up setting the stage for one of the most epic wars in history.
So let's just start with this question. Because for the ancient Kuru dynasty, this wasn't just some thought experiment. This was a full-blown crisis. Their royal line had nearly been wiped out, and securing that next generation, it was literally the most important mission they had.
And all of that pressure, it landed right on the shoulders of the Grand Regent, Bhishma. He knew the clock was ticking. He had two young princes, both ready for marriage, and he had to find them wives, and he had to do it fast to make sure the family name didn't just fade into history.
Now, these two heirs were a really unique challenge. On the one hand, you have Dhritarashtra. He's the elder brother, a man with just incredible physical strength, but he was born blind, which, is a major complication for a king. And then you have Pandu, the younger brother, this famous warrior who seemed destined for greatness. So you've got two very different princes, and that meant they were going to need two very different strategies.
Let's start with the elder prince, Dhritarashtra. Because he was blind, Bhishma needed more than just your standard royal alliance. He needed a guarantee, something so powerful it would just totally erase any worries about who would succeed the throne. What he needed was a prophecy.
And this is where you see just how brilliant Bhishma was as a political operator. He doesn't just look for any old powerful princess. No, he specifically seeks out Gandhari because he's heard about her divine boon from the god Shiva. See, he wasn't just planning a wedding, he was planning a legacy.
And just think about that number for a second. 100 sons. For a dynasty that's worried about going extinct, this wasn't just a solution. It was a massive show of strength. 100 powerful princes from the mighty Dhritarashtra? Well, that would lock down the Kuru line for generations.
But, of course, there was a little hitch. Gandhari's father, King Suvala, was, pretty hesitant. And you can't blame him. Marrying your daughter to a blind prince is a tough pill to swallow. But Bhishma was betting on the sheer power of his family's reputation. Suvala had to weigh his daughter's future against the incredible fame and power of the Kuru house. And in the end, that alliance was just too good to pass.
The political side of this is one thing, but Gandhari's personal choice here is what makes this story so unbelievable. When she found out she was going to marry a blind prince, she took a piece of cloth and literally blindfolded herself. She decided she would never be superior to her husband by having a sense that he didn't. It was this incredible act of devotion that would, really, define her entire life.
Okay, so let's shift gears now and talk about Pandu, because his road to marriage could not have been more different. His wasn't one with prophecies or careful negotiations. Nope, it was one with pure, undeniable glory on the biggest stage you can imagine. Bhishma sent the younger prince Pandu to something called a Swayamvara, and this was an amazing event. A princess would choose her own husband from a hall just packed with the greatest kings and princes of the era. And the prize? The hand of the beautiful and noble Princess Kunti.
You have to picture this scene. Pandu's charisma was just off the charts. He didn't just walk into the arena. He owned it. The texts say he entered like a proud lion, with all the confidence and power of a king of kings.
And the effect was just instantaneous. All the other royals there, these are powerful men, mind you, they were just diminished. Pandu's presence was so huge that it was like the sun had just come up, completely blotting out all the stars. There was just no competition.
Kunti saw this magnificent prince and she was just captivated. And that was it. The contest was over before it even began. Not a single sword was drawn. She just walked right up to him and placed the wedding garland around his neck. Pandu had won his queen, not with a weapon, but with his sheer force of personality.
So 2 princes, 2 queens. The dynasty should be safe, you'd think, right? Well, not if you're Bhishma. He was a master planner who left nothing to chance. He figured that to be truly secure, they needed one more alliance.
This is where you see Bhishma's incredible foresight. He's thinking, okay, Gandhari's boon of 100 sons. That takes care of Dhritarashtra's line. But what about Pandu's line? The line that could produce the next king. It had no such divine guarantee, so he needed to hedge his bets. So Bhishma himself travels to the kingdom of Madra to ask for the hand of Princess Madri for Pandu. But her brother, King Shalya, says, hold on, we have an ancient custom in our family. A suitor couldn't just ask for the bride. They had to offer a tribute, what's known as a bride price. And the price that was paid? Wow.
It was just a stunning display of the Kuru dynasty's massive wealth and power. Bhishma didn't just come prepared, he came overwhelmingly prepared. He offered a treasure so huge, piles of gold, gems, hundreds of elephants, horses, chariots, that King Shalya was more than happy to agree to the marriage.
And with that last marriage, Bhishma's master plan was finally complete. He had navigated prophecy, he had navigated contests of charisma, and he navigated ancient customs to get 3 powerful queens for the 2 princes. The future of the Kuru house looked more secure than ever.
So, this table really breaks it all down perfectly, right? For Dhritarashtra, you have a strategic arrangement built on a divine prophecy. For Pandu, first a victory of pure presence at a Savayambara, and then a carefully negotiated bride price for a second wife. Each marriage was a totally custom solution, tailored exactly to what the dynasty needed at that moment.
And this is really the key takeaway from all of this. On paper, Bhishma's plan was a spectacular success. He used every tool he had, strategy, money, reputation, to solve the immediate problem of succession. But in creating these powerful competing family lines, his calculated moves accidentally planted the seeds for a devastating rivalry between cousins. A rivalry that would eventually drag the entire world into war. The very solution to one problem became the cause of a much, much bigger one.